Okay. Risco's hands clutched at the sheets below her. Does it tickle? No. It's impossible to make a straight face. I feel like it's impossible to make a straight face for this. I see, it feels good. Not to mention the music. The music. So pleasant. Oh, maybe I'm not doing it right then. I changed the pressure I applied slightly. Okay. Really, seriously, you can tell me if it hurts. How deep? I can see the curve of her butt through her skirt. I think everyone can at this point. Are you guys, are you with me on that? Sorry, girls, you're allowed to be mad at me. With all your hatred, if you want. I'm literally... what am I doing? It was all that I could do to keep myself from reaching for it. That was just made me a pervert. What about your calves? Right, I moved down her legs slowly. This girl's tails curled. It really must have tickled. When I looked closely, there were goosebumps on her thighs. It doesn't hurt, right? Even so, I never thought I would get to touch Risco's skin directly like this. No matter how you slice it, it was a strange feeling. Maybe that's where the awkwardness came from my character. Because as I said before in previous episodes, I literally put myself in the character's shoes. Her ankles are so delicate too. These are the definitions of great legs. She had a beautiful face and a slender body. She was overwhelming with appeal. I didn't know the man she'd be engaged to, but he had to be crazy about Risco. He had to be jumping for joy over the idea of marrying a beauty like her. But at the same time, I wasn't giving her up. She was mine. She is the woman I love, and through all the indecisiveness from the very beginning, went straight to her. Oh, sorry, I got too rough. Are you feeling pretty relaxed now? I spoke up quickly. I knew that if we kept on like this, things really would go down a strange path. Oh, I guess we'll leave it at this then. Risco nodded. I stood up off the bed. She sat and placed her feet on the floor. A strange expression came over her face and she placed a hand on her stomach. What's wrong? She shook her head, her face crimson. She let out a long sigh and stood up forcefully. She disappeared into the washroom quickly and returned with her stockings back in place. Right, I feel free to come by any time or something like that. Bye bye. I was really getting nervous in that. Oh man. I let out a long breath, lapped back onto my bed. The bed was full of her warmth. Gazed up at my hand, ears to Risco's warmth lingering from my palm to the tips of my fingers. It wasn't until she was gone that I had even noticed. That happened. It was the next day after class. The athletic festival was on Sunday, but we didn't get a compensatory holiday. I think we're busted. Rai's expression was surprisingly serious. I wonder what she could want to ask us. Briscoe and I exchanged a glance. We weren't especially keeping it a secret, of course, but... Right. I looked into Briscoe's eyes. She didn't seem like she wanted to feign ignorance, so I nodded. We are, yeah. The White Lily Society members all reacted knowingly. The only person who showed any surprise was Mitsuki. Because, like I said before, she was dense. I can't stop. How is it against the rule of being in love with someone? Mitsuki raised a finger. She raised the second finger. No, she did that for herself. Stared at Risco dumbfounded. You were pretty cool to me the first time we met, Risco. She blushed as I prodded her arm. It was true that we had become unbelievably close, given how things had begun. In more ways than one. What? No. More importantly for that, that would really save us. Risco shook her head. Isiki placed a finger in front of her lips, the others nodded. I'm impressed that you guys guessed it though, right? The two of them nodded at each other. Yesterday. Because I'm used to seeing your hair. And probably yours from since we were kids too, like that's but you do look pretty good, you know. I think there's no I think it should be obvious to this point that we are. As I'm down. She's thank you, let's go. I needed that face plant. It was a moment before she responded. She didn't understand the meaning of lover. No, we already discussed that problem. Also, I just noticed my hair. I know. Yes. The exchange firm handshakes. Rice took the report sheet excitedly. Well, sadly, not exactly because of Risco's cheerleading. She took the result as she spoke and smiled suddenly vanished. Rice looked outraged. The other peeked over her shoulder. I look it up. It was a little tacky, but I could understand why she wanted to brag. As usual, Tammy got the shot at just the right time.
そうか。こら。私はですね、保存用、鑑賞用、配布用と3部もこの号外もらっちゃったんですよ。配布って外部の人に？いえ、来年中期に上がってきた子たちにです。
Okay,
なるほどね。
and wouldn't that be more than 3?
あのベルエピーヌがチアリーディングに出るって言うんで、やっぱりみんな驚いたみたいで、それで白百合会の活躍もかすんじゃったってわけね。じゃあ私も対抗して出るべきだったかしらね。ほんとよ、リセさん、あなたもったいないことしたわよ。ただ出ようっていう発想がなくて、東西の両横綱が揃い踏みしてくれたら私のカメラもますます火を吹いたんだけどね。目的はそれか。でもリツコ、2学期に入ってやけに加速してきたじゃない。ちょっとインタビューしてもいいかしら。え、加速だから文化祭の時は辻立ちでしょ。で、祭ではチアリーディング。
Despite Tanya's title, she failed to realize that we were dating the whole time. I just realized. I forgot now. They're alive and kicking.
それは言葉のあやということで。で、リツコ、私の見ていたところ、1学期はそれほどでもなかったようだ。2学期になって急に熱心よね。何か心境の変化でも？文化祭の時はともかくとして、今回のチアリーディングなんですが、それは特にアソシアシオンとは関係がなかったんです。というと？出たいと思ったから出てみた。それだけのことです。ねえ、今の新聞に書いてもいい？はい。でもさ、なんだか意外ね。
Tammy had been standing this whole time, pulled up a chair in fascination. How does she still not realize that we're dating the whole time?
一体どういう風の吹き回しなのよ。今年度に入ってバンセンヌは大きく変わりましたから、それに私も釣られたということだと思います。
How do people not realize? Tammy's eyes traveled towards me. Do something like what?
質問に質問で返さない。だってこれはますます意外じゃない。ただタミエ様。
Does she?
タミエルジャッジメントを思い出してください。あの時マサヤ様の残留は満場一致で賛成され、私も賛成したということですから。だから私もその限りでは。
Does she not know this?
なんだか分かったような分からないような話ね。まあいいわ。
Despite her title, Tammy hadn't caught on to the fact that we were dating. Yeah.
マサヤさんに晴れ姿を見せたかったってことなんでしょ。分かるわよ。相手はなかなかイケてる男子だものね。でもあれね、こうして仲良くご飯食べているけど、まあ元から仲が
Is she trying to? Is she understanding now, or?
勝利したらマサヤさんともお別れね。私の勝ち負けというよりも、生徒たちが学園の行く末をどう選ぶかという問題ですから。ま、そうだけどさ。でも来年3月でお別れかと思うと。
It's not set in stone yet.
そうよ、まだまだ勝負は全然わからなくてよ。まあそれはそうだ。
But the White Lily Society had failed to take any ground during the culture and the athletic festival, the term's two major events. It was going to be a hard road to walk.
マサヤさんがいなくなったらやっぱり寂しい？そうですね。お、断言したわね。そのことも書い ないでいい？
How does she not? How does she still not cut up with that?
質問だけど、律子は共学反対派なのよね。
Risco nodded.
マサヤさんと仲良くなっていることは別問題ということね。はい。紅バラ会の回答という責任は最後まで全うするつもりです。もう葛藤はありません。
Think.
葛藤？あ、いえ。
It sounded like an unintentional slip of the tongue, but fortunately the bell rang just then and Tammy was forced to leave with little more than a vague sense of suspicion. Which I highly doubt she found out anything. Oh. November. Hey, there's November 30th, my birthday. November came along and the temperature dropped suddenly. The empty cathedral was probably cold, but if it was, we didn't feel it as we sat huddled together. It felt strange using the holy cathedral for our rendezvous, but not enough to stop us.
次の顔合わせなのですが、今度の日曜日に決まりました。
Meeting, you mean with your fiancé? Risco nodded firmly.
実際の日、私ははっきりと母に言ったわけですが、結局また次の予定を入れてしまったんです。
I
私の
see.
意思など全く無視しています。
She has been doing so for the entire time. I'm not really surprised.
それも仕方がないのかもしれません。私がらしさを捨てたということを母も急には納得できないでしょうから。
Like you. Yeah, you mentioned before how you always played the good girl.
前にシスター三島に相談したことがあったのですが、母の意向に沿って生きること、母が用意したレールの上を歩くこと、それが以前の私らしさだったんです。
Risco had showed an unusual reaction to the words "like you" before. It seemed this was the reason for it. That rail thing Aika said about that before too when we were playing Life.
姉も分かっていますから。
But Aika had said to me, "I'm really awful, aren't I? All I can do is play the clown." There was no doubt that they were close, but it seemed like there was some kind of wall between them. Something I couldn't understand just yet.
態度をずっと続けていれば、母が勘違いしてしまうのも当然のことです。勘違いというか、真実だったわけですから。あなたがこの学園に現れるまでは。
It's like what Tammy said at lunch today. I guess it really had an influence on you.
それはそうですよ。
Risco touched my thigh gently. I liked the feeling of her soft hand.
私は確かに変わってしまったんです。前まではこんな風に異性に触れるなんて考えられもしなかったのに。
How can I not smile? Risco.
この前なんか
What? I can't. Risco turned bright red and had no idea what she was getting at. But I'll take responsibility for changing you. I guess responsibility might be an exaggeration, but since you were talking about marriage, I do want to take responsibility for my part in that. It was sort of like a promise to propose. I felt a little like I was getting ahead of myself, but Risco seemed to take it sincerely. She leaned against me and murmured low,
大げさなんかではないです。とても嬉しい。
"Who wouldn't be happy for this?" Hearing her say that made me happy
マサヤ
too.
様、好きです。
I love you too, and I won't let that other man have you.
私だって。
Risco looked at me, her eyes shining with tears. We were so close I would only have to lean further a little bit to touch her lips with mine. But she blushed to her ears and turned her face away.
日曜なんですが、 結局母一人に言って拉致が開かないのであれば、私はその場で言うつもりです。
During your meeting with him.
先方にもはっきり伝えれば、今度こそ後戻りはできないはずですから。
That's a good idea. Well, good luck this Sunday. Except it probably didn't go the way she intended it, I believe. I forget. Sunday was the 6th. I spent the whole day feeling restless. How was it going to turn out? But more than anything, it was the thought that Risco was with another man that was bothering me. My desire to have her all to myself seemed to be growing. Maybe me and Risco had changed me too, in the sense that I was discovering new sides to myself. Then finally the night came. We met up in the cathedral as always. How did the meeting go? I decided to go right for the main subject. Risco slumped her shoulders, depressed.
ダメですね。本当に育児なしです。
What do you mean? Risco told me the story. His parents and her parents were both there. In the end, she couldn't bring herself to say it in front of 5 people at once.
好みを見習わなくてはと思いました。彼女みたいに振る舞えれば、私だって。
It was hard to imagine Risco acting like Konomi, but I guess that wasn't the point. Well, it's only your first meeting since you decided to put a stop to it. It's not much of a great tragedy, is it?
なるべく早く決着をつけてしまいたい気持ちがあるので。
Yeah.
それにもう一つ嫌なことが、次の顔合わせが来月の24日に設定されてしまったんです。
Christmas Eve. You forced arranged marriage. You forced a meeting with a guy on the night of where couples mainly spend together. Ugh.
はい、ワンセンヌではあまり気にしませんが、その世間では恋人同士が過ごすという
Abso-fucking-lutely.
当たるそうですね。
Yeah, something like that.
らしい？もしかして違うので。
No, but I never really had so much use for Christmas. I was always busy with work. I guess if we're a couple, we should pay attention to Christmas, so yeah.
そのクリスマスは私たちも一緒に過ごしたいと思って。
I can't stop the smile. Yeah, that would be nice. I found myself nodding along, spending Christmas with Frisco. It would have to be a wonderful night.
そのためには今度こそはっきりと言って早々に退席する必要があります。そうでないと時間がなくなってしまいますから。
Yeah, that's true.
結局今日は言えませんでした。
And let's face it, Frisco gets nervous easily. Brave, huh?
私一つ考えていることがあるのですが。
Yeah, what's the idea? What could it be? Risco's cheeks turned on a red hue, but she fell silent. What is it? Seemed like she was about to say something, but in the end, she didn't voice her idea.
いいえ。また。
I can't stop the smile. I gotta go to the next part here. Sure.
勇気を得るのに勇気が必要だなんて、なんだか玉ねぎの皮を剥くみたいな話。
That sounds like a Shrek advice, except instead, ogres are like onions. There are layers and layers of things. Oh boy, why am I bringing up that quote? What on earth was she talking about? Risco put her hands on her cheeks and let out a hot sigh. It was a beautiful sigh, but I had no idea what she was talking about. And I can't stop. So the days passed uneventful. It seemed the association didn't have much to work left to do in the second term, and her meeting with her fiance was a month away. So we spent our days together in peace. However, I had noticed Risco's line of sight. I looked into the mirror specifically. At first, I thought I might have a pimple, but there was nothing looking like that on my face. No matter what angle I studied it from the mirror revealed nothing out of the ordinary on my face. The reason I was curious was that I had realized lately that Risco had taken to staring at a certain part of my face. A certain part, most likely my mouth. It occurred to me that any time we talked, her eyes were focusedly firmly on my mouth. The first time I just asked her casually, "Is there something on my face?" Risco's reaction was exaggerated. Which just made it even more suspicious. Couldn't figure out what was on her mind at all. Fine. Oh well, I laid the mirror back on my desk. Next time I would ask her straight out. Meanwhile, I can't stop the smile. Oh, I overpassed it. Oh no. Next part.